Late last week, news broke that the United States had launched a surprise attack using its B-2 Spirit stealth bombers against targets inside Iran. The skies over Iran, normally quiet at night, suddenly echoed with the distant rumble of these secretive planes. The world watched in surprise and concern as images and videos of explosions flashed across global news. Many asked why the United States used such a powerful and rare weapon far from home. This operation was not just another airstrike. It marked the first time B-2 bombers were used in this way against Iran. The decision to send these planes showed how serious the situation was. For many, this move changed the rules of the game between the two countries. It sent a strong message, not just to Iran, but to the whole region. The B-2 bombing run mattered for several reasons. First, it showed the United States had the ability to strike anywhere, at any time. Second, it revealed deep worries about security and rising tensions in the Middle East. Finally, it created a sense of uncertainty. Would this lead to more conflict, or would it force both sides to talk? As the dust settles, experts and leaders around the world are trying to understand what this means. Will it bring peace or push the region toward a bigger fight? To answer these questions, we must first look at the weapon itself, the B-2 Spirit. The B-2 Spirit is one of the most advanced planes ever built. It is known as a stealth bomber because it is very hard to see on radar. This means it can fly into enemy territory without being detected. Its unusual shape, like a flying wing, helps it slip past defenses and reach its target safely. Each B-2 costs over $2 billion to build. The United States only has about 20 of them. This makes the B-2 very rare and valuable. It can fly more than 6,000 miles without refueling, and it can carry both traditional bombs and nuclear weapons. The B-2 is flown by a crew of 2 pilots sitting side by side in its small cockpit. Using a B-2 in a real mission is a big decision. The United States usually saves these planes for the most important jobs. When the B-2 is used, it sends a message that the target is very important, and that normal planes might not be enough to do the job. The B-2's use in this mission shows how much the United States wanted the attack to succeed. The plane's stealth allowed it to fly deep into Iran without warning. Its heavy bombs made sure the targets were destroyed. For Iran and the world, seeing the B-2 in action was a powerful signal. The B-2 bombers struck several locations inside Iran. According to reports, the main targets were military bases and sites linked to Iran's missile program. Some sources also said that command centers and radar stations were hit. These places were chosen because they are important for Iran's defense and for planning future attacks. Military analysts say the United States wanted to weaken Iran's ability to launch missiles or coordinate strikes against American forces or allies. By taking out these targets, the United States hoped to send a warning. The message was clear. Attacks against the United States or its friends would have serious consequences. The targets were carefully picked to avoid hitting civilians. Still, there were reports of damage nearby, and some people were hurt. The United States said it tried hard to avoid causing harm to ordinary people. This is always a challenge in modern warfare. Hitting these sites may slow down Iran's military for a while. But experts warn that Iran could rebuild or find new ways to defend itself. The attack did not destroy Iran's whole military, but it was a serious blow. The bombing did not happen out of nowhere. For months, the Middle East has been on edge. Iran and the United States have argued over many issues, including nuclear programs, attacks on ships, and support for different groups in the region. Recent weeks saw an increase in threats and small clashes. Many believe the strikes were a direct response to attacks on American bases in the region. Some United States soldiers were hurt, and there were warnings that more attacks could come. The United States leaders felt they needed to act to protect their people and show they would not back down. Iran, for its part, has been under strong pressure at home and abroad. Some inside the country want leaders to stand up to the United States. Others fear more violence could hurt ordinary people. The region's neighbors are also worried that fighting could spread. These strikes happened at a time when hope for peace was already low. Many nations in the area fear that one mistake could lead to a bigger war. The B-2 attack made it clear that the risks are very real. A mission like this takes months of planning. First, the United States gathers information about the targets using satellites and spies. Next, military leaders choose the best time to strike. They wait for a moment when the targets are most vulnerable, and when there are fewer civilians nearby. The B-2s likely took off from a base far from Iran, possibly in the United States or a friendly country. They flew for many hours, using their stealth to avoid radar. Along the way, other planes helped by refueling the bombers in the air. Fighters and drones may have watched for threats and gathered more information as the bombers reached their targets. Once over Iran, the B-2s released their bombs with great accuracy. Modern technology lets them hit targets exactly, even in the dark or bad weather. After dropping their bombs, the planes quickly left the area. The whole mission was over in just a few hours. Even with all this planning, there is always risk. If something went wrong, the pilots would have had to escape or call for help. But this time, the mission worked as planned, and the B-2s returned home safely. After the strikes, politicians and experts around the world started to argue. Some said the United States had the right to defend its people. They pointed to recent attacks on American forces as a reason for the bombing. Others said the attack could make things worse, not better. There are also questions about the law. Under international law, countries are not supposed to use force unless they are attacked or have permission from the United Nations. The United States said its actions were legal because it was defending itself. Some countries agreed, while others called for an investigation. Inside the United States, leaders in Congress debated whether the president had the power to order the strikes. Some said he should have asked Congress first. Others felt quick action was needed to protect lives. The debate is not just about laws and rules, it is also about what is wise. Many fear that more strikes and counterstrikes could lead to a bigger war. For now, the world is watching to see what happens next. The strikes have changed the situation in the Middle East. Iran is angry and has promised to respond. Some fear new attacks on United States bases or on allies like Israel or Saudi Arabia. There is also worry that Iran's allies in the region could act on their own. At the same time, some leaders hope this show of force will make Iran think twice before attacking again. They believe the strikes could bring both sides to the negotiating table. Talks might be the only way to stop the cycle of violence. Other countries in the Middle East are watching closely. They want to know if the United States will protect its friends and stand up to threats. Some may feel safer, while others are now more nervous about being drawn into a larger fight. What happens next depends on many factors. Will Iran seek revenge, or will it wait and plan? Will the United States use more force, or look for peace? The world can only wait and hope for a calm solution. The use of B-2 bombers sends a strong message far beyond Iran. It shows that the United States has both the power and the will to act, even in the most dangerous situations. Other countries are now thinking about what this means for their own security and plans. Some American allies feel reassured. They see the United States as ready to protect them if trouble comes. But others worry that using such force could make the world less safe. They fear that more countries might build up their own weapons in response. The United Nations and other groups have called for calm. They want all sides to avoid more violence and to follow international rules. Some leaders believe that talking is better than fighting, but they also see how quickly things can change. This moment is a test for the world's leaders. How they react now could shape the future of global security and peace. The B-2 strikes remind everyone that one country's decision can have effects everywhere. The B-2 Spirit mission in Iran is a turning point for the region and the world. It shows that high-tech weapons can be used in new ways, and that old rules may not always apply. The attack has changed how countries think about security, war, and peace. For Iran, the strikes are a warning and a challenge. For the United States, they are a sign of strength but also a risk. For the Middle East, they bring new dangers and new chances for diplomacy. It is not clear what the next steps will be. One thing is sure, the world is watching closely. Leaders and ordinary people must now decide how to respond. Will they choose more fighting, or try to find a way to talk and end the conflict? In the end, the B-2 strikes are more than just a military story. They are about choices, risks, and the search for peace in a dangerous world.